of talking about the brain's efforts for you to survive, to protect yourself. But if you're not careful, that process can create these expectations of how other people ought to be.
I'm Susan Goss, and as a seasoned therapist of more than 15 years, I'm honored to have had the opportunity to gain so much wisdom from so many people and love passing that knowledge on to others. So join me and some of my favorite friends as we share some tangible truths with you. Hey guys, welcome back to the Tangible Truth Podcast. I'm Susan Goss, and I still have with me Dr. Rana. Hey, Ryan.
Hi, good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So we're going to continue on with where we left off, and I think we left off on expectations, right? Discerning expectations.
Yep.
It's a big topic.
Yep.
I'm gonna punt it to you.
Yeah, we jumped off of you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
Which kind of segued us over to exactly what do you expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I do think this is a really big deal. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about contentment and peace and joy, something that I think is in short supply societally right now, expectations are a powerful thing.
They are.
And it's something we got to balance. You know, you don't want to get rid of them. You can't get rid of them. You cannot not expect things. But I think it's a worthwhile journey to discern them, meaning to sit down and say, all right, here's what I'm expecting. Is this good? Is this congruent with my faith? Is this not, and because if you don't sort of take a moment to discern them, boy, they start to dictate life, I think. And so the first thought I have, I'll just by way of confession here a little bit, is, one of my roles, I wear like 6 hats professionally. And one of them is as a trainer with whatever, the details don't matter, but I'll be flying in somewhere and I have these thoughts come across my mind as I'm preparing or flying in. And it's like, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to do the very best there's ever been. Right. And then I go, what in the world? What is that?
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? And going, what's going on with that, Ryan? Or a faith conversation in my head, and some of that's like being an athlete growing up and some of it's good and beautiful of how I really want to make a difference here. But it's so crucial that I take that time to go, all right, what's happening with that energy that just came through my body? Because I want to harness the good, and if I can capture that 60% or whatever it might be and move that over to a mission that's flexible, that's congruent with my calling, now it's beautiful energy. And I get up before the group and I'm moving. I'm not boring. There's an engagement there. If I don't discern this becomes some kind of weird hubris, pride that comes across like I think I have all the answers when I know I don't. And then it becomes sort of a rigidity where I've got something to prove. Or I need some kind of response from others. And so that same energy with just a little bit of discernment is really a game changer. And I think that's probably relevant in a lot of scenarios. I'm just using my training platform as one of those. So that's what comes to mind for me.
Well, I like what the key was that you did is that you ask yourself, wait, where's that coming from?
I got to notice, right?
I think that is the key to the whole thing.
Right.
Is you allowed yourself to go, wait, I think where's that coming from?
Right.
That I think, am I going to be the super guy?
Right.
But that makes sense if I'm looking at it from, you said growing up, the athlete and all that kind of stuff. Okay, God, let's process this. Where's this coming from? That was the key, Ryan.
Yeah.
Because if you leave that out, you're going to be full of anxiety, even fear. I'm going to go ahead and use the word fear.
Yes. Even
fear. And I'm going to throw in this word to see if it's congruent to where we're headed, awkwardness.
For sure.
Because if you leave what I call it, that mirror moment with God, that really self-reflection with God, if you leave that out, you're just left with self.
Right.
And when we're left with self, we don't do well.
Right.
And so I think that's the key to the whole thing.
Yeah, well said. That's right on. You would think it would come across as confidence, but it doesn't.
No.
not only to the crowd, but even internally.
That's right.
It becomes rigidity. It becomes that anxious,
Yes.
now I've got to meet some kind of standard, or
Yes.
I'm trying to
And I need them to
Yes.
love me.
Yes.
I need them to love me
Yes.
because we're all self. It's all about self.
Yeah.
And he's not reflected in it at all.
At all.
God.
And if someone doesn't approve of me, now it's a problem.
Right.
Which, if you think about training people, you got to tolerate that.
Yeah.
If they were going to agree with everything, they shouldn't even have come.
No.
So it's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, what you're saying. And I think, that energy comes from all the time, actually. What are you afraid of?
Yeah.
What do you fear?
Are you afraid of rejection?
Yeah.
Are you afraid of them not liking you? Are you afraid of all of those things?
Yeah.
So,
And even good fears.
yeah.
Like, hey, I don't want people to not be clear.
Mm-hmm.
So take more time to get more clear.
Yeah.
Or maybe fear of the Lord. I want to make sure I'm honoring the
Mhm.
gifts that he's given me, or the calling.
Mm-hmm.
So using the fear for good, as opposed to, trying to perform on top of it,
Yeah.
might be where we're going with that too.
And, speaking of the word confidence, that you use the word confidence, one of my prayers always before I get up and speak, God, I pray for your confidence
Mhm.
in me. Your confidence. So, and I remember when you and I would speak,
Mhm.
that would be a prayer that I would pray for both of us. I remember specifically praying that over, I can't remember where we were,
Yeah.
but I remember praying that for God's confidence in you, for God's confidence in me. It's a confidence that, that meaning is, I don't want me.
Yeah.
In this, I want him through me.
Yeah.
It's a different confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going different directions here, but you remember, actually, this is thankfully years ago, when being around me before an event was miserable.
Yeah, you were a nervous wreck.
I was a nervous wreck.
And you would change what I remember. Can I
do it
truthfully say what made it a nervous wreck? You would change the plan right before we would get on stage.
Right.
And it would be like, what? No, I don't want you to say that. I want to speak on that. Susan, you change on that. Nick, you change on that.
Yeah.
It'd be like that. It's like frenetic would be my word.
Which makes you miserable.
Yes.
So my inner state was coming out to you. Thankfully, that's not true anymore.
Praise God.
And I'll just make one comment, because this is off topic a little bit, but that was a result of me trying to make the fear go away, because the brain doesn't really do that. Fear is your body saying, pay attention. Something might be dangerous about this. There might be a surprise threat. And so what shifted it for me was like, yeah, you're right. And harnessing that fear and feeling connected in that fear. And that allowed me to come forward, as opposed to getting in all that disaster of whatever you said, a wreck, a frenetic pace, because then even if it went well, I'm still miserable 10 days later.
Yeah.
Because my body's exhausted. And thankfully, that's not true anymore. But it's all under these expectations and how you set up and moving towards whatever performance in your life looks like.
Yes. And I'll be honest and say, I was the same way. Like, I'd get up there and I know I did not do well. And I'm so much better now too, where I would be able to say, no, I can't do that.
Right.
Or I'm in a much better place too. But that's because of spiritual maturity on both of our parts and all that kind of stuff.
Sometimes you got to fall down before you know how to walk.
Yeah. And we fell down several times.
We did.
But now we're walking.
We are.
Praise God.
Yeah.
So,
and then I think, when it comes to discerning expectations from others, I think that's almost just as important, maybe more.
Yeah.
Like, what exactly am I entitled to?
Yeah.
How well are people supposed to treat me?
Mm-hmm.
Those are, I have more questions than answers, but we walk around with a set of expectations that we may not be aware of.
Right.
And those can really set one up for success or failure.
Mm-hmm. Right. 100%. And that's got to be also another self-reflection with God, I think, because that's a tension there. Am I expecting too much? But God's got to reveal, is there pride involved with me expecting too much from people or not? I think that's another conversation with God, because sometimes it is right and sometimes it's not right to expect X, Y, Z, whatever your situation is.
Yep.
But humility is key in the whole thing.
Yep.
And just staying. I mean, it's a great conversation. Expectation
to your point on the last podcast, is a powerful word that can get you in a lot of trouble, but can also encourage as well. It keeps you on your toes, just like the word anxiety. Anxiety tends to get a horrible rap. It can be both good and bad. To your point, before you speak, that can also be, you can be up for the crowd with some anxiety. Before you train, you're going to have some anxiety. That's not altogether bad before you train, before you go to train. It's just what level of anxiety do you have?
Right.
If you're going to be breaking out in a sweat, not so good.
Right. Yeah.
Same but different.
Yeah.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah. I did a thing 5 or 6 years ago, just as growth. Myself and 5 other guys, we did a 12-step program. Not because we were having an addiction. We just went through the 12 steps. It was kind of interesting.
We celebrate that 12?
A version of it.
Great.
Yeah. And that was my big walk away, that I've kind of felt an impression of, kind of something to what you said, was to be in the roles that I'm in, which are harder than it was when I was 30. What's it look like for you to completely loosen your relationship of how others are? Like, I spent months just looking at that topic. Even little images would come to mind. Like, if you pull out of your driveway and not a single person in the world likes you, if they're all upset with you, obviously no one wants that. Could you survive that, Ryan? And the answer is, yeah, I probably could. Wouldn't be my best day. Wouldn't be my favorite, but I could. And it was a great tearing down for me of this structure. Because it is unnatural. I think that's a theme of both these podcasts. It's very counterintuitive to what the flesh wants to do. Our pride, our ego, those are mean ways of talking about the brain's efforts for you to survive, to protect yourself. But if you're not careful, that process can create these expectations of how other people ought to be. And then when someone disappoints you, we're surprised. And that's where I have little conversations with God where I think he lovingly goes, what did you expect exactly?
Yeah.
You woke up this day expecting other people to all do right. Where did you get that? That's what the crazy thought is. At a minimum, everybody around you is competing economically. At a minimum, not even to get into the spiritual and relational and people's trauma stories. So walking around expecting other people to treat you well is virtually psychotic. And yet I think we do it because our vulnerability just wants people to be nice and see us and hear us. I think it really I'll just say for me, it really sets me up for real problems.
Oh, yeah.
And then when something does go wrong, I have a rigid response.
Right. 100%. 100%. I 100% agree. And we work with people all day for that very concept. When people hurt people, they're shocked.
Yeah.
And we're human. We're all human. You and I are human. We're all human.
And I have to work hard to make sure I'm validating that, because part of me goes, yeah, your husband's mean sometimes. Your boss is mean. Yeah. It's like, but when it happens to you, there is that shock factor of just being human. Yeah.
Very, very true.
But what do other humans owe me? What am I entitled to? Am I entitled to respect? Am I entitled to kindness and love and generosity? We'd love it, but am I entitled to it? I really think that's a crucial thing to occasionally sit down and discern, in my spiritual world as I get up to walk out to somewhere. It's like, what should I expect here? What do they owe me? And if you start thinking about that, it's not a whole lot. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if that lands for you or not.
Where it lands for me is not to be what I've really focused on for the year, specifically 2025, if you will, is just praying every single day for God to reveal to me his kindness. I just want to be more kind. I want to see the best in people, just to focus on his image bearing. So not focused as much on other people as much as if that makes sense. I need to say that so it's understood. I have to respond. I know that I have to respond to other people all the time, every day, but to focus more on God, help me to be your kind. What does kindness truly mean? It's so easy to be kind when other people are kind to you.
Yeah.
It is so easy. That is so easy. I'm a kind person. I feel like I'm a kind, compassionate person. Now, when you're in a situation when people are very ugly to you, then where is your kindness of Jesus? Are you going to keep your mouth shut? Relationships, are they better than being right? In that case, are you going to show the kindness of Jesus when you've asked for the same drink 4 times at Starbucks or Onyx, not Onyx, my beloved Onyx, not my Onyx, my beloved Onyx would never get anything wrong. But at someplace else, my point is, if you're asking for, if you're in a situation and somebody's arguing with you, are you going to show the kindness of Jesus? I've just been asking that every single day, and he's given me opportunity to see if that is right every single day. Yeah. So focusing more on my heart, and I think that it's been a journey and a beautiful one. He's revealing different things to me, and I think that's the focus has got to be, okay, they're going to be this way, but how am I going to respond to that?
Yeah.
It's been an interesting journey.
I can tell you one of the predictors. There's probably many, but one of them is your expectations.
Yeah.
And because if you walk into Starbucks, or maybe something more intense than that, and you're sort of unaware that you're carrying expectations of entitlement that people should be a certain way.
Oh yeah.
Then when they're not, it's going to surprise you.
Yeah.
What we know neurologically, is when the brain is surprised, it's going to have sort of those rigid responses.
Yes.
And now next thing you know, we've created a cycle between you and the person at Starbucks.
100%.
But if I can reset this in the mornings and, I can preset a posture of grace, then when that person cuts me off in traffic, I'm not so shocked because I realize I pulled out of my driveway in a broken world, and that's okay. Like God's given me a 4-wheel drive. There's going to be some bumps today. That's all right. I'm built to face bumps.
All right.
It's different.
I'm not going to let it ruin my day.
No. And 2025, it's the year of Jubilee. Did you know that? It really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
The year of Jubilee.
This is the 50 year.
Is that why you went to Jubilee Wellness?
Maybe. It all comes together. But I love that it's the same thing you're saying there. It's like, I'm going to forgive the 10 people today who are going to operate out of their flesh. And boy, it sets you up very differently.
It does.
If you can see that coming.
Yeah, it really, really does. It changes perspective. It really does. I'm going to assume the best, I mean.
And prepare for it not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, already we're running out of time. We've got one more episode. Can you hang on?
Yep.
Okay, one more episode. Listeners, hang on. You're not going to want to miss this. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Tangible Truth Podcast, part of the KLRC Podcast Network.